Charlotte Tilbury, she cannot stop complaining about makeup
When
dupes.
dupe, you dupe the consumer. That's not the quality and formula that you're going to get these amazing performance that empowers people to look and feel that way. So if you can do it, try, baby, try, darling. It's on, it's on, it's on. The game is on, but I have not seen it yet.
In a time where people don't have that much money and they think they can get a sort of Charlotte Tilbury-esque look for a fraction of the price, why wouldn't they buy that product?
Because you just said it, an esque look. It's not Charlotte Tilbury, and it's not the product, and it's not performing the way that my products do. I have looked at those tubes, and they do not. So by the way, if I could do them for those prices, I would.
In a recent video, we had Charlotte Tilbury, who was in an interview talking about makeup dupes again, and she has had quite a few rants about the whole dupe culture that is going on in the beauty space. And that really made me want to sit back, take a look, and have a conversation with you guys about makeup dupes in general and about an article that Business of Beauty actually wrote. So, Business of Beauty, they did actually post something on their Instagram, and they basically have said that there is an era that is happening in the beauty industry, and it is the Super Dupe era. And this is also headlined by the fact that MCO Beauty and Scandinavia are making the All Dayer setting spray, which is pretty much the Urban Decay and Scandinavia All Nighter setting spray, but it's from the dupe of dupe queens, MCO Beauty. And so Charlotte Tilbury has made comments again about dupes and how you're duping the customer, how these duped products are not as good as the original. And she has also pointed out that if she could make it that inexpensive, she would make it that inexpensive. But I feel like the MCO Beauty Scandinavia slash Urban Decay Scandinavia partnerships are a prime example of, are you paying for just the name? Because the formulation is the same and or similar. We don't know the price of the new All Day yet, but MCO Beauty is an affordable beauty brand. I'm gonna guess $12 to $14. Okay, that's my guess. But the thing that I'm really trying to point out here is that we are in the super dupe era. And it's something that Charlotte Tilbury just doesn't like. And that really got me to thinking about a dupe culture in general. And how, at one point in time, when I was looking for a makeup dupe, it wasn't as plain as day of a dupe that I could find. It was like doing my research. If I was doing my makeup and I found that like something performed similarly or the same as my high end product with the same finish, I'm like, that's a dupe. Not packaging wise, but formulation and color wise, that's a dupe. And now we've really gotten into this culture of everything looks the same. I mean, we had the beauty blush wands, the highlight wands, and the bronzer wands that were all duped by various brands, all trying to copy, mimic, whatever you want to call it, the Charlotte Tilbury viral blush, highlight, and bronzer wands. But we have subsequently moved into a whole new duping culture. And at one point in time, duping, when it was first coming out, especially with MCO Beauty and their packaging looked the same, the colors looked the same, everybody was up in arms about it because they were literally copying somebody else's idea, and that was the controversy behind it. Is like Charlotte Tilbury put in all the R&D to come up with their Hollywood flawless filter, and then you had MCO who came in and their packaging looked pretty close, the outcome was the same, and they were charging like $15 for it, and that was the biggest controversy of all. And Charlotte is still ranting, I should say, not raving. She's ranting about dupes in general and like how if she could do it better, she would for the price point. And let's just see what Business of Beauty they say. That MCO is notorious for its affordable dupes of pricey beauty products, but a new launch pushes the proposition even further, which I could not agree more with. Enter the All Dayer setting spray made with the same formula once used by Urban Decay for its hero All Nighter spray. Experts say that super dupes like these are on the rise as shoppers seek even more value from their beauty buys. They point out that MCO has revived the Scandinavia Urban Decay setting spray formula, which is owned by Scandinavia, actually, signaling an increasing sophisticated evolution of the beauty dupe market. Brands are moving beyond imitation, leveraging shared manufacturers, expired patents, and legacy formulas to create a higher performing, value led alternative. As consumers' attitudes shift, a new generation of super dupes is reshaping competition, raising questions about originality, innovation, and brand loyalty. So they give a few examples in here. Obviously, the MCO Beauty versus the Urban Decay All Nighter. And then they also have the Smashbox Becca Under Eye Brightening Pot Concealer, where Beauty Pie, they say that they didn't dupe it, they presented it. In other words, the brand hasn't duped premium labels. The factory that they got their product from, Beauty Pie, simply sold both brands almost the same thing. And then the patent for SkinCeuticals Hero Vitamin C Serum CE Ferbalike, which is $185. It did expire in March of 2025. And guess who picked it up? Elf. They raced to create a remarkably similar version for $16. It's Lisa Payne, who is the head of beauty at Stylist. She is quoted as saying, "It's a culture that is evolving around the changing needs of the consumer and the changing systems around how the industry operates. Consumers are much more concerned, especially when it comes to makeup, about what works well and does the job versus where it comes from." And that's really what's happening in the beauty industry right now, is that people are more concerned about how it's going to affect their pocketbook than how much, staying loyal to a brand, especially when drugstore products are just as good as the high end product that they're charging a lot of money for. But in comes the beauty drama of it all, because Charlotte Tilbury just had to put in her 2 cents about drugstore dupes in general. And she says, it's not the dupe product, it's that you're duping the customer. But if you really think about it, are these brands really duping the customer? No, because the customer is looking for a more affordable option that does the same thing as the high end product at a more affordable price. And that's where we stand in the beauty industry in 2026. Yes, it was controversial at one point because some of these dupes were literally mimicking, they were copycats of a higher end product. But now we have become so desensitized in the makeup space, but we also are becoming more aware of what we are putting our money into as well, especially with the economy that the way that it is, especially with finances the way that they are and expenses the way that they are. People are starting to realize that those duped products do exactly the same thing for a way better price. And this has also started a huge trend on social media regarding, oh, you heard that dupes aren't that good. You've been told that dupes aren't that good. Let me show you a full face of dupes. And then they go right into a full face of dupes to show you that they are actually the same or better than the high end product that you're paying for at a fraction of the cost. And that's what consumers are looking for. This is bringing about an evolution that the higher end brands do not want to focus on. And you can tell that they don't want to focus on it because you have this Scandinavia MCO Beauty collaboration versus the old OG Urban Decay Scandinavia collaboration. And it just goes to prove and show that you can have the same product made by a different brand and it's way less. And it proves that 9 times out of 10, you're paying for the brand name. You're not paying for the packaging. You are not paying for the formula itself. You're not paying for the overhead. You're paying for the brand name, the stigma that comes behind using a Urban Decay product or a Charlotte Tilbury product versus an MCO Beauty product or an Elf product or a Catrice product or any other product for that matter that has something similar to the higher end product. You are paying for the name at that point. And I feel like this is where higher end brands are going to come into a little kerfuffle. Are they going to adapt or are they going to fall short? Are we going to see the closure of high end brands, or are we going to see them start adapting and either coming out with more product that is affordable for the consumer with their brand name on it? Or are they going to pivot and they're going to come out with revolutionary formulas that have never been seen before and revolutionary collections and products and things like that? Or are they going to have to prove why their product is more than the duped product, why it's more superior? And I think we're going to see a version of all three of these. It's going to be a pivot. We are going to see some brands that are going to pivot to proving why their product is better, which is kind of the lane that Charlotte Tilbury has taken. To be honest with you, every single time that she rants about it, she's like, this is why Charlotte Tilbury is better, but she doesn't really give a reason why. It's just a rant. And then we're also going to see a pivot from some other brands who are making more revolutionary product that are like two in ones. Or, I mean, a prime example of that would be Tarte has come out with a lot more revolutionary product as of late. They're booming on TikTok Shop, and they're coming out with, their own variations of these products in different packaging. We have other brands that are going to fall behind, and they're not going to be able to keep up with the drugstore that is producing just as good product at a very, very, very inexpensive price point for consumers. The beauty industry is changing, and I'm excited to see it change. And I have a feeling that we are going to see some brands struggle tremendously with this change that is happening with the dupe culture. And it's going to be interesting to see who survives at the end of 2026 and who goes into 2027 and who doesn't. So, if you guys liked this conversation, this whole topic, please leave me a comment down below. I really hope I get to see you guys in my next video. Bye.